Welcome back, Earthlings. Today's video is going to be on test anxiety help. Okay, so first thing I want to do is start off with an anecdote. Test anxiety is can be a very serious thing. I know I've had it at points in the past, although for me it wasn't too bad. I had one exam where I froze up for 10 minutes. But let me give you guys a quick story of a student I had. So this student, she was a phenomenal student, put in her work, was very prepared for the exam. She even took practice exams. Now, what happened was on the day of the exam, she completely froze. So it was a 3-hour exam and she froze for like an hour and freaked out and ended up bombing the exam. Now, this was completely unexpected because, like I said, when I said she took practice exams, I don't mean in her room. Actually, in like a classroom full of kids, she took several simulated practice exams. So this just goes to show you that no matter how much you try to prepare, this can always be an issue. And there's nothing like the real thing. So on the day of the real exam, you have dozens, maybe hundreds of kids if it's a large, important exam. There's the Scantrons, all the pencils, all the kids that look nervous, all the parents, you feel nervous. The classroom is maybe some place you're not familiar with, or it's crammed, or the desks are small. There's the clock in the room. So basically, it's a very real issue. I just want to kind of let you guys know that I very much know what it feels like, and I've had students that have really had this issue. So once you realize that this is an issue for you, hopefully you don't realize this on the day of the exam, but let's say you've already had an exam where you're concerned this might be a future problem. Let's see what we can do about it. So, how to use this video. I'm going to give you guys several suggestions, tips, whatever, and some of them might work right away, some of them might work very slowly, some of them might not work for you at all. So use your judgment. If I say something and it sounds good to you, you feel excited to use it, basically personalize it, use your own judgment. But that said, some things I say you might think like, oh, I don't want to do that, that's not for me. So I recommend at least experiment. Try everything I say. I would recommend try it at least once, and if you don't like it, then don't do it anymore. Because if you've never tried it, maybe you just have a bias, and maybe you'll be surprised by how much you like it once you've tried it. All right. Now, so there'll be two themes in this video, which is to deal with this. There'll be the mental and the physical side of things, and they're very interrelated. So you may have I'm guessing a lot of you probably lean towards one or the other. For example, a lot of the times people just stress that it's mental, other times that it's physical. It's really both. If we don't tackle each of these sides, we're not going to be able to help with this issue. All right, so there's going to be 3 parts to this video. One is the immediate sort of foundation, the idea I want to get across, and then long-term fixes and short-term fixes. By short-term, I don't mean they're only going to work briefly. I mean, this is stuff you could do the day of the exam. This is stuff you want to do gradually leading up to an exam. All right, here's the immediate issue. We need to change the mindset. So a lot of folks, a lot of videos will probably tell you, oh, if you have anxiety, here's how you deal with it. Let's calm you down. Let's do some deep breathing. You'll notice I have deep breathing in the video as well. But before I get to that, I don't like that whole approach. So I want to emphasize that anxiety can be a very good thing. Now, it can also be a very bad thing, but let's see what I mean. So first of all, why do I think anxiety, if you're taking a test, you're feeling anxiety, first thing I want you guys to start thinking is that this is a good thing. How is this good? Well, first of all, the heart means that you care. So if you don't care about an exam, then you wouldn't be nervous at all. You would just go in there and fail the exam, right? So the fact that you feel anxious means you want to do well. All right, so that's a good thing. That means already you care. All right, next. If you're feeling anxious versus depressed, if you're depressed, you're usually low energy. If you're anxious, that means you're usually higher energy, right? So that's why you're feeling all these weird sensations mentally, physically. So that's extra energy. Now, here is the $1 million issue, which is, what are we going to do with this energy? Is this energy going to work for you or against you? So that's why I said anxiety can be good or bad. Sometimes you can't help but feel it, but we can do things that will help us turn this extra energy into a good thing or a bad thing. So In other words, we're going to use this to our advantage. Don't think of anxiety as a problem to eliminate. Think of it as extra energy that you have to learn how to channel properly. So just keep that in mind. So in all this stuff, we're going to think about channeling versus removing. So we're not trying to diminish or remove anxiety. There's a little bit of that involved, but that's sort of the traditional boring advice you get, and it's not super effective. Or rather, if you want mediocre results, then you can just think of that. If you want really phenomenal results, we're going to think of it as channeling. So just let's pause for a second and think of any top performer, whether it's an actor, an entertainer, a musician, an athlete, a public speaker, whoever it might be. They'll tell you that even if they've done it 1,000 times, they all have anxiety. However, they've learned to use it to their advantage, so that's why they can give sort of the most electrifying performance when everything is on the line. So how is that? Like, how does like a weightlifter do their best performance the day of the competition? Because they're using that energy as extra strength. Okay. Versus they could also use that and get really nervous and start fumbling with stuff. That could also be bad. All right. So let's see. So that's the first thing. So we're going to change our mindset. If you're feeling anxious, that's nothing to freak out about. That's a good thing. So now we just have to figure out how to channel it properly. All right. So let's start with the long-term stuff. Now, one of the things I want to get across is crossover. So if you have like a big exam, let's say, coming up, you're not going to get a chance to practice that exam before the exam. So you're going to have to use other disciplines and learn this through other disciplines. So if you have a math test, maybe you have to practice what I'm saying on an English test. Or better yet, you can do it like in almost completely unrelated things. So it could be an athletic event or so let's get into that. The point is, we're going to learn the skills we need for your exam in an area that may have nothing to do with your exam on the directly. All right. So there's two elements, like I said, mental and physical. So this is a huge issue, particularly for a lot of good students, like let's say traditionally nerds. So let's say you get A pluses, but maybe you're not very physically active. So you're getting all the good grades, but your friends are out playing sports, they're on all of these teams. And if you don't do much physical activity, that could include athletics. Like regular physical activity, it could be exercising, athletics, sports, martial arts, gymnastics, dancing, regular weightlifting, calisthenics, whatever your preferred form of activity, then you're really missing out. So this can really help, because part of what anxiety is it's a physical feeling. So if you play, let's say, I'm going to focus on sports because I think that's particularly good for helping this issue. So I've noticed that almost none of the students that I've had that play sports at a fairly serious level, they usually don't have anxiety issues. Why? Because they've learned how to deal with it and work with it in sports. So this is not the first time they're encountering it, so they don't freak out and have this runaway chain reaction. Now, why does something like sports help? I mean, physiologically, your body's healthier, so you can take on physically more stress. So like, if I feel a little nervous as an athlete, that's fine. So for a normal person, when they feel a little nervous, they might start to freak out. But for an athlete, they've built up a larger base. Just like if you're lifting heavy weights and I only give you like 2 pounds, you can lift that easily. Same thing, a normal person, they usually don't have a lot of anxiety in their daily life because you don't take tests every day. But if you're playing sports and you have games, you have teammates that rely on you, like somebody passes you the ball, everybody's looking at you, you have a lot of these mini freakouts all the time. So you're going to learn how to deal with this very, very soon. So that's why I encourage you guys, even if you don't like sports, maybe you really hate the idea of sports, then pick martial arts. It doesn't have to be a sport like basketball or football, cricket, whatever your sport. It could be dancing, singing, it doesn't matter what it is. Pick some sort of physical activity that you don't normally do and have a go at it, and you'll find that might help a lot. All right, so that's the physical side of things. Now, the mental side of things. The idea is pick any activity where you feel uncomfortable or fearful. Now when I say uncomfortable, I don't want you guys saying, I feel uncomfortable jumping off a building, so I'm going to jump off a building. Don't pick anything stupid or dangerous like that. I mean something that's actually good for you, but you feel it's out of your comfort zone. So that could be a lot of things. It could be volunteering for a class presentation. So maybe you're like, I used to be deathly scared of public speaking. So maybe every time your teacher asks who wants to volunteer for to give a presentation, you're always like ducking your head, or suddenly you have to go to the bathroom when she says that. So maybe this time you volunteer. You're going to put yourself on the spot to prepare yourself for that physiological and mental feeling of freaking out, so you can deal with it when it doesn't matter as much. So volunteer, in class for presentations, public speaking of any kind, musical performances. So like if you play the piano, violin, drums, whatever, it doesn't have to be like a large performance. Maybe you just play in front of 1 or 2 family members, and you don't even have to be that great. The idea is, if you've never done it, you might freak out. So that'll be a really great experience for you. It could be as small as giving a toast at a dinner party. So let's say it's like your parents' or your uncle's birthday. Maybe you offer to give a toast, because usually, that's like a little nervous. You have to speak in front of a public audience. But the good news is you only have to speak for like a few seconds, and it's hard to mess it up unless you say, I hate my uncle and he should go to hell or something. All right, the poetry, you can recite a poem to an audience, just to your friend, to a group of friends. You can, basically the idea is to put yourself in situations where you feel slightly uncomfortable. So I know for me it was public speaking and, let's say, dancing. So maybe you join your school dance group. I know for me, like let's say it's break dancing, because that could, or Latin dancing or whatever. It can be pretty scary to do that, but you'll find you're going to be much more experienced and know what to expect when you feel anxiety on the day of the test. So that's the long-term stuff. All right, let's get into short-term fixes. So I'm going to make a separate video on sleep, diet, and general stress the day before and the day of the exam. So this is kind of a prerequisite. I'm not even going to dwell on this. I'm assuming you're already getting your sleep and your diet, and your house is not on fire and you're not in an argument. You don't have like some crazy life situations going on. If you do, then obviously you're not going to be in the mental state to perform at your best, right? If you got 3 hours of sleep, everything I say is sort of going to go out the window. All right. Or I mean, you can still do it, it'll help, but you're not going to reach your full potential. All right, so here are the main things. And by the way, the red stars indicate the ones that I like to do best for myself. So I love this one. So focus on 1 to 2 points of a strategy for the exam. So let's say you're taking a math test. So for you, and I'll do a lot of separate videos on this stuff. For you, maybe you make a lot of careless errors. And for you, maybe you want to reread the question. So one of your 2 strategy points was like, number 1, remember to reread every question. Or maybe your, whatever it was. So these are very high level things. This is not like remember a specific formula. It might be look at the clock every 10 minutes. Or for like reading comprehension, it might be remember to reread the questions, or summarize each paragraph as you read, whatever it is. Don't make this like 7 or 20 points, because then you're just not gonna use it. It might just be 1 point, so 1 or 2 points. So why would you want to do this? There's 2 benefits. The immediate benefit is you're actually focusing on your game day, your exam strategy, so it's gonna help you perform better. But the even more phenomenal benefit is that if you're feeling anxiety, then you're feeling this extra energy, you're tingly, you can't wait to get started. That can be counterproductive. However, if you give yourself something to do, then you're not focusing on being nervous about nothing. So it gives your extra energy something to do, and it gives your energy something productive to do. So you're going to be actually doing not just something good, but a lot more of the good thing. So that's why I really love this focusing. So it might, what does it actually involve doing? By focusing, it might just be repeat. So remember to reread the questions. Remember to read the questions. I mean, take a little break. okay, when I start, remember to reread the questions, every question, and visualize yourself doing that. So you might want to do this. Now, this is just a side note on the shh. A lot of kids, maybe you're one of those, I always hated this, so this is more of a personal preference, but I also strongly recommend this. I don't advise that you talk to other kids right before the exam. Some kids are talkers, they love talking, and if this were you might be a more social person, so if this helps you, then by all means do it. I'll just tell you why I don't like it. So first of all, it dilutes your energy. So all that extra energy that you could have used for starting the exam, now you're sort of letting it go, because it feels good to communicate to a person with another person. So that said, maybe that's actually good for you doing a little bit of it, but you don't want to start having conversations and discussing the ins and outs of the exam. Second of all, so it's diluting your energy, and also the person that you're talking is diluting your focus, so you're not focusing on your 1 to 2 point strategy. Also, the person you're talking to may not really care about the exam, so they may give you a false sense of comfort because they seem so relaxed. You're like, I should be relaxed too, but maybe for you don't want to be relaxed. Remember, we want to use some of this extra energy. Now, that person may not care about doing well. But also, if they're really nervous, this is another reason, you may pick up some of their nervousness just by really listening and talking to them. So I advise, usually, most situations, keep to yourself. Don't be rude and antisocial. If somebody asks you a question, talk to them, but kind of keep to yourself, focus on what you need to do. All right. Number 2, deep breathing. So like in terms of short-term things on the day of the exam, these are probably my 2 favorite, 1 and 2. I generally do number 1, but if you're feeling like, like this is really getting out of hand, like your heart's really starting to beat, you feel like it might get to be a runaway reaction, you might need to do some deep breathing. Now, you might have heard of this, but I'll say this, most people, even after they've been told to do this and shown sort of quickly how to do this, don't do this properly. So I'll give you guys a quick demonstration, and let me just say, it's like, what are ways to develop this? So we can develop this through just practicing it in isolation. If you're an athlete or doing athletics, that'll also help. But I'll just let you guys know, I used to be heavily into athletics, and until like age 20 or 25, I could not really do this. I mean, I had decent breathing, but I wasn't doing proper full benefit deep breathing. So just know that just because you play sports and you're like, I have perfect breath control, that's not necessarily the case. All right, so swimming is great for that. Yoga, certain types of martial arts like Kung Fu or Qigong or Tai Chi, basically the internal stuff. And singing, so if, for example, if you try to sing a phrase from one of your famous songs, just try to sing along. You might find you're running out of breath on the phrases, and that's an indication that you have poor breath control. All right, so again, I'm not going to give you guys the full breakdown of deep breathing, but you should look at it for yourself. YouTube, Google search, whatever. Let me just give you some high-level quick pointers. So if you're doing this, so basically you don't want your shoulders and your like upper chest area to be moving. If you're breathing like this, you're basically hyperventilating. And a lot of people, if they sprint, you'll notice they breathe like this. So you don't want to be doing that. That's shallow breathing. So deep breathing is usually lower in the body. So you should be thinking ribs, your back, possibly your stomach area as well. So there's many cues, so especially if you take like a voice lesson, you'll learn a lot more about this, but you could think of it as like a balloon. So this is like the big part, and it gets narrower up here. So as you breathe, you want the air to drop down. So it's gonna go. So you want it to be slow and relaxed. So as you're breathing, it's not just about breathing. So it shouldn't be like, you should feel your whole body relaxing. Now, there's a lot more to that. So if you kind of get over-relaxed, then remember, anxiety can be a good thing. So you want to manage it. You don't want it to be so relaxed that you fall asleep before the exam starts. So maybe you want to do like 5 or 10 slow, deep, full breaths. And like I said, search more about how to do this. If you guys want me to, I'll be happy to do like an in-depth video more on deep breathing. Let me know if you have specific questions. I could do that. So, okay, so next, self-talk. Like this is more of a minor strategy, but it's really helpful for some people. So for completeness, I'm going to put that in. We have sort of at least 3 things. So there's positive self-talk, distracting yourself, and then comedic self-talk. So positive might be like, yeah, you're the man, you could do it. You know, I know you're going to do well. I'm not a huge fan of that, but like you could use it sparingly, and you can just tell yourself, look, I know I've practiced a lot, I'm prepared, I'm going to do my best. You know, so that can work well too. So you just basically, if you've done your practice, it's going to show on the day of the exam. So just you can have a positive self-talk, that's fine. I'm not a huge fan of the distraction stuff. Why? Because it can dilute your energy and focus. But that said, if you're getting really freaked out, maybe you want to look out the window, look at the birds for a second, you know, look at your shoes, think about the birthday party you're going to have this weekend that you're really excited about. At the end of the day, it's whatever gets you to feel better at the moment. But remember, we don't want to completely eliminate the anxiety because we're going to use some of it. So you just want it to be manageable, where you feel like you have a little burst of energy, but not where like you can't control it. So if you've ever watched cartoons, sometimes the bad guys like power up. Anyway, so you want to be able to control that reaction. 3, comedic. Again, this is like another minor technique, but whatever works at the end of the day. So it might be like, hey, make sure you're thinking this to yourself and not saying this out loud, but hey, that kid's sweater makes him look like an excellent zebra. Now, one of the reasons I like this, I mean, I'm sort of like a wacky person, but if you're laughing, it's hard to be nervous at the same time. So that can just, laughter, like anytime you smile, physiologically it helps relax you and make you feel better. So anything that gets you to feel good or smile or laugh is going to help. So hopefully that gives you guys enough ideas. So like I said, my preferred approach on the day of the exam is I'll usually repeat this to myself and do a few breaths every now and then, like. But you can do a silent breath to be even more efficient. But the idea is just comfortable breathing. Like people shouldn't even know you're doing deep breathing if you're doing it properly. So if you're like, if people are looking at you, you're not doing it right. All right, so that should give you guys a good running start. So please let me know in the comments below if what your thoughts are. You know, like the video, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Share the video with your cat, your friend, your pet, pineapple, whatever. Let me know if you have any questions and if you'd like to see me go into some more of this stuff. All right. Oh, also, sorry, I forgot to mention, with my preferred approach of doing 1 and 2, here's sort of to give you guys a sense of how you want to be feeling, well, at least how I like to feel. When you focus on your strategy but do a little bit of that deep breathing, once the exam starts, I feel like I'm a bat out of hell in terms of energy. I'm like super amped up. That's in terms of mental focus. However, physiologically, I'm not overly excited like we said. I'm managing that anxiety and energy, so I'm not too hyped up. The deep breathing is going to help with that. Because if you're too if you think you're in control but you're overly anxiety, like maybe you're feeling happy but you have a lot of energy, you might start to make a lot of careless errors from working way too fast or too confidently, and you might even crash halfway through the exam. So let's say as part of the diet, you ate like 30 candy bars. You might get off to a great start and then halfway through the exam, it's just going to become a nightmare. So remember, you kind of want to ride that wave of the anxiety. You don't want to feel super nervous, but you don't want to feel like you're so relaxed that you don't even care about the exam. All right, hopefully that's helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video.